I wrote my first book. I completed my first book, and that's so crazy to say because I've been trying to write a book for years. I love writing. I've always been a writer, and I've always known that I am going to write a book. But it's finally here. It's finally done. So I have decided to take on the task of illustrating it, and I'm not the best illustrator. I've actually been practicing for the past year. I am primarily an oil and acrylic traditional artist and not an illustrator. But I want to illustrate my own book. I have the vision. I know what it's supposed to look like, and I am gonna do it. So if you don't know me and you are new to this channel, my name is Anna, and I'm a Christian artist that paints biblical art. So yes, this is a Christian children's book. So if you're interested in seeing the full process, I'm starting a new series. I'm going to illustrate a full page every video. I think it's about 30 pages. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm excited for this journey. It's gonna be a long one, but this is a little longer children's book and I'm excited. So, interesting story. I bought this watercolor palette in 2020 when I started to paint, like actually paint, and I thought watercolor is so easy. I got this. I did this as a child. But actually, watercolor art is really difficult. But I used this before I moved on to acrylic and oil. But a couple weeks ago, my husband's parents found this exact palette in the trash. Like someone had thrown it out in a box. It was brand new, maybe touched once or twice, and they tossed it out in the trash. And so they picked it up, as one should, and they gave it to me, and I was like, is this a sign from God? Am I meant to go back to watercolor? It felt like it was, because I really love this medium. I love how it looks. I'm not the best at it, but I love how it looks. So for this book, I decided to do watercolor because several reasons. I do not like a lot of the modern children's book illustrations that are just very overwhelming and very bright and stylized and oversimplified in a way that is not pleasing to my eye. And just from the way that I've noticed my children, the way that I've seen their interest in certain types of books, I always see that the books that have a lot of detail and that are very muted, earthy with an earthy color palette, they tend to gravitate towards those that are filled with more natural colors versus the oversaturated, oversimplified illustration style. So I really love the little golden books that I used to read when I was a little kid, and I like that old vintage style, illustration style. So that's what I'm gonna go for. We'll see how it goes. So I have this giant watercolor paper that it's so dusty. Clearly, I haven't used it in years, literal years, but it's 16 by 20. So I had worked on the sketches the previous day, and I'm just going over it with the light first wash. And I am not that good with watercolor paint, guys. Like, I don't know how to use negative space that well, and I just find that acrylic and oil paint are just much more forgiving of mistakes. But I really like that Pablo Picasso quote where he said that learning to paint like the masters took him 4 years, but a lifetime to learn how to paint like a child. And I find that watercolor has that childlike feel and look to it. I mean, of course, not the way that everybody uses it, but I feel like the way that I use it and the way that I like to use it very much resembles a less perfect version of my other traditional art. And I like to use a lot of water. I like the look of imperfection in my illustrations because it's supposed to cater to the part of us that isn't looking for that, and it's much more forgiving visually, and I think that's been my favorite part so far. Okay, check-in break. This is what we've got so far, or what I've got so far. I think it's giving children's book. What do you think? So this is the front page, the first page, and it's supposed to be just like the introduction of the scene, so of where they live. So it's just a landscape painting. It's kind of introducing who the characters are, where they live. So it's supposed to be a really beautiful place. Hopefully it's looking like a really beautiful place. Welcome to day 2. We are getting down to the last stretch, and this is what I have so far. It's looking like a page. Is it not? Am I gaslighting myself? Because I don't know. Most of my illustrations have been through digital art, and I just feel like for this specifically, I had to do traditional art just because I feel a lot more limited when I'm using physical materials, but I think that could be a good thing. It's a challenging thing. I was about to teach my Zoom art class, but it got moved to tomorrow, so I was just kind of like waiting for the class to start, and I was working on this, but then it got rescheduled for tomorrow, so I didn't record anything, but it feels like I am finished, I think. I don't know, might have to rework some things, but I wanted to show you guys what page 1 of my book looks like. I'm so excited. So that is it for today's video. I am going to be documenting this process on this channel, but also on my illustration Instagram at New Earth Studio, where I am sharing lots of illustrations and we'll be promoting this book and future books, because yes, I am already working on book number 2 because I'm kind of falling in love with this. So if you want to keep track over there, I didn't want it to go onto my other art Instagram just because I mostly do, it's different, you know, like it's different. I don't want to be promoting my books and my illustration on that page just because I created New Earth Studio as like a passion project. And so yeah, separate. I understand not everyone is into that, so I think that works better that way. I'll see you next time as I work on page number 2. Okay, bye guys. Thank you.